But I mean, there are some real questions as to how this affects Canada Soccer, the federation, in a run-up to a World Cup being hosted on soil in Canada. I mean, this is a huge deal. I'm hearing about sponsors dropping potentially. Do you think it'll get to that point?
I mean, sponsors say that all the time, right?
Right.
I again, right? I think that Canada Soccer would be very smart to investigate this and go really deep into this and really find out how this program that seemed to be really elaborate was set up. Right, Kevin Blue, the new CEO of Canada,
who just got there, right?
Who just got there? He's like, guys, he's like that meme. He's like that meme of the dog walking into a fire, like sitting in like that room that's burning. This is fine. I mean, like, I feel bad for him because like he inherited all this stuff. He inherited a soccer association that was in big financial trouble. He inherited a soccer association that, at the time, had no head coach, right? And then the MLS team stepped up and got Jesse Marsh, and Jesse Marsh walked in and turns it around so quickly. And then he's like, okay, I turned that fire out.
And they're like, have you thought about it?
This one blows up like crazy. But Beth Priestman inherited this from John Hurtman, who was the women's national team coach before he became the men's national team coach. And so you wonder how long ago does this go, right? We know about that case with Honduras, right? They complained about it and they were really adamant that it happened. But we wonder, okay, if that happened, what else happened? We know that Greg Berhalter complained, I think, before that 4-1 victory over Canada in the Nations League. I don't think that was drones. I think they spotted someone spying in the stands. But still, like, that's all very surveillance type kind of stuff. Like, the CIA would be proud of that sort of tools that they have at their disposal. So, how deep does this go, and what does it mean for him, who is in this job in Toronto? At Toronto, it's not exactly going well there either, is it?
Yeah.
And as you said, recently got into trouble here at NYCFC, and it turned out that was maybe nothing as well. So
he seems to avoid controversy, or not. It comes to him, but he's able to dip before any punishment.
Teflon John.
Damn, bro.
No, but here's a big question that I have. The really big question I have. So if all this controversy, Beth Priestman is now taking the fall, but it sounds like it was him who set this up, right?
He was the master,
allegedly, and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
But it seems like there's this pile of controversy that he leaves behind wherever he goes. So when does it catch up? Right?
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't affect Canada Soccer. But if you do need sponsors, you brought up a great point when you said DJI. How about they get a drone as their main sponsor? A drone company is their main sponsor, bro. Think about this. I mean, there's got to be a drone company in Canada.
Have you guys seen the redesigned Canada Soccer logo that's out there?
Yes, I saw. We had retweeted it. Somebody had basically put a drone over the Canadian.
It's great.
What was it? The
Canada, the soccer ball. The 1980s soccer ball. That's awesome. That's just awesome.
Which is amazing.
I mean, you gotta lean into this kind of stuff too, right? I mean,
you gotta do it.
Mike Beauvais, I think I pronounced it. So shout out to him for making that. But the other aspect of it that's interesting is there was another. I forgot who it was. It might have been an anonymous official or somebody from US Soccer, but they were asking them about if they had heard about this as something they experienced, and like why didn't they report it to any authority? And they said that they were trying to handle it internally because they were the U.S., Canada, and Mexico were bidding for the World Cup, and they didn't want to make Canada look bad and would affect the bid for the World Cup. So this is like,
damn, yo, you take me down, I'll take us all down.
So it's kind of crazy. Like there's so many people sort of implicated. And look, the U.S. is not. In that instance, they're not going to complain because it's like business is going to affect business. So it's like
John Herman said, you need people like me. So you can point your big finger and say, that's the best.
If you take me down, I'll take you down. We'll sink the ship together.
He said, I tell the truth even when I lie. John Herman.
So surreal, man. This is like, and look, it just seemed like when we found out about it at the Olympics, like, oh, wow, they got caught doing this thing with this one time. But man, this is just like it's a bigger deal. And clearly it's a thing where how much does it affect the actual play on the field? Like no one can necessarily argue that it's like,
but you've seen the players crying, and they've talked about how they haven't eaten in days, and because there's so much stress about what punishment is going to come down. And I still say, and I get that people are like, how can you punish the federation without punishing the players? But in a way, all you did was punish the players by deducting 6 points. This is unfair. These players train by themselves, aside from their clubs, for months to prepare themselves for this. They get there and now they're in a 6-point hole because somebody in the federation.
Maybe they did appeal it today.
They are appealing it, but as of right now, as of this moment, as we're recording, they are in a 6-point hole. And by all accounts, have the opportunity to still qualify and get through.
I think they are too. I think they are.
It would be an amazing story, but I just don't understand how punishing the players in any way, shape, or form affects the federation as a whole when they've made these decisions unbeknownst to the players and they've made these decisions in spite of the players. It just doesn't make sense.
How do you guys feel about the precedent that was set here? Because it is a big fine financially, right? It is also that 6-point deduction. It's issued by FIFA, right? Of course, Canada Soccer is now appealing it. And my gut feeling is that at least the point deduction will come off, or, it will come off immediately and then go to higher levels of court. So this could play out over months.
Yeah.
Right.
But how do you feel about the precedent that's set here? So will FIFA now, every time someone gets caught spying, and this does happen in soccer a lot. I mean, there's a really famous example that I came across with Julian Nagelsmann when he was still at Hoffenheim, where Werder Bremen got caught spying on him. He just kind of shrugged it off and laughed about it, right? Because it is kind of something that a lot of clubs do.
Right.
So do we see this now every time? Because FIFA is about precedents. And so every time now someone gets caught spying, is it like an automatic 6-point deduction and 250,000 euro fine?
I wonder if it's the spying, because if it almost feels like spying, we all sort of accept that there's, clubs are going to look for some kind of advantage. Yeah. It's the drones specifically that seems like such an excessive attempt to spy and so deliberate.
So you think if there was a systemic approach to putting like a fake janitor or someone in the stands or something to spy
like
on
a fake janitor development academy where they're just developing.
You don't think of Canada as the place for that, right? But I'm with you. I like where your head's going. But if it was like a guy trying to get in or a woman trying to get in, you'd feel like the punishment would have been less. The drone is, for some reason, for you, a sticking point.
To me, it just seems so much more elaborate, and it also the data that you are capturing is so much more clear and specific as opposed to somebody having their phone or whatever. I get that it's similar, but it's just so much more. Seeing a top-down view of like a set piece is much different than watching it from the stands to some degree. So it just seems like the fact that if they had only done this at these Olympics, I don't think this is the penalty. But the fact that the reports came out of like this has been going on for years, I think that's what did it.
Because it's systematic.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that the example that I mentioned was also drones, right?
Right.
But I think you hit the nail on the head there. It is because it's systematic, right? It is, as far as we know, has gone back years now, 4 or 5 years.
This is part of there's a system in place. That's the punishment.
Yeah.
It's premeditated.
But can we talk about the fact how stupid Canada Soccer were thinking they could get away with this in Paris, of all places? Let's fly drones at the biggest high security event on planet Earth in a country that hates drones.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, like, it's not the smartest thing to do.
Why is
but
no
it's
one
worked
in the room?
In the past, I think. So.
Why did no one in the room get up and say, "Hey, Beth, it's maybe not the best idea this time around"?
Right.
This is what I can't wrap my head around. That it's so ingrained into the culture of the national team.
Canadians are not,
that no one stood up and said, "Hey, this is a bad idea." Like, not because we think spying is a bad idea, but because it's the Olympics.
But Canadians are not known for their audacity.
No,
and they had just an incredible amount.
Have you watched hockey ever?
I have watched hockey, but just in general,
I think Canadians get away with being kind of the stereotype nice person, and then they go on the ice, play the fastest game on earth,
right,
with like plates that literally can cut you open and punch each other out, and they have no audacity. I mean, I think you need to pay great attention.
Canadians thought of those as like the few standout wackos.
The Canadian hockey players
are also our biggest export.
They are your, Roman gladiators. You know what I mean? Those are the people you send out to entertain you because they, you've developed these toothless maniacs to go fight each
Right.
other on the ice or whatever. So
You should go to small town Canada and you'll find that those guys make up 80% of the population.
interesting.
I'm interested in that. Don't ever want to go to small town Canada.
No one wants to.
I just want you to know. I have an idea. I think this is where Canada messed up. One, why would it be an employee flying the drone? Get yourself someone who's not an employee. Get a bunch of B-roll footage of like trees or whatever in there first, and then happen to fly it over the training and say, I don't even know what soccer is, bro. I was just flying around. I saw a bunch of people training. I thought, oh, this is cool footage to have to show my grandkids.
You know all those documentaries that you watch when they transition from one scene to another?
Yeah.
That's what
I
do,
do, bro. And then if they're not an employee, you don't get caught. And if New
Well, he
Zealand
was
goes,
non-accredited.
He was not accredited.
Whatever that means.
Yeah.
if New Zealand's like, yo, we gotta, it's a cute little grandpa. He didn't know what he was doing. Meanwhile, you don't know that's John Herman's dad. You feel me?
This man is a hobbyist.
Yes.
Why are you attacking him?
You guys saw the job application that Canada Soccer put out?
Yeah, because it said you must know how to fly drones. Did you see this?
I did not see that.
Okay. But here's the thing, though. You need the drones for your own training. So I feel bad.
No, the timing of it is just it's like amazing, right?
Optics are not good. But if you think about it, you still need the drone. It was the one genius, John Herman, who said, hey, wait, if it works for us, if this helps us with our training, imagine what it could do if we had their training.
Why do I also need to have the special skill of learning how to use night vision?
Yeah, exactly.
That seems excessive.